then is there anyone that wants to share with us how their personal practice has been so far? Has it been challenging? Has it been eye-opening? Has it been... Let's just hear you. You can raise up your hand if you want to speak, then I'll call you, then you'll mute your mic. Okay. Wale, you can unmute your mic and speak. Sorry, Wale text him. I just assumed that is Wale somehow.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Is your name Wale?
No. That's an abbreviation for some things I have in my head.
Okay. Pardon my Yoruba brain.
No, that's fine. Okay. I would say it has been very, very interesting for me as a person because I've always wanted to have a grasp of Power BI.
Okay.
So seeing this opportunity, I quickly took it so that at least I could have an idea about everything about Power BI. So last week after the class, when you said it's better we go back and study, I was opportunity to be free last week, so I just ran through everything we had done. So I was even able to do that part whereby we're arguing about we're talking about trimesters and
yeah.
So I was able to do that in the course of my practice that last week. So
Fantastic.
And then able to look at some other things there. So it has been a very, very interesting goal for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Are there any other takers? Okay, I wouldn't want to waste our time. If there are no other takers, we'll just go straight to today's class. And okay, sorry, there's a hand up. Amaka, let's hear you.
Okay, good evening. So I tried because I was a bit confused with the sum and the sum x function. So I tried to practice it so I'll be able to figure out the differences between them and how they work. And I figured it out.
Fantastic. So I'm happy with the responses that we have, and it goes to show that what I had said before, like not only does practicing make you understand it better, it makes you it gives you the assurance that you really know what you think you know. Like look at Wale, there was something he was asking if it was possible. And I liked how Choma's teaching method, when anybody asks a question and says, oh, is this possible? She shows you so that you can see if it's possible or not. And Wale now went back to even try some other thing that we didn't do in the class, and then he was able to get it. And for Amaka to sum and sum x is actually a very dicey it's a very dicey thing, but then it's just like a math. So once you know it, you know it. Nobody can take it from you. So I would encourage the others. Yeah, I know some people might have practiced, but they don't want to speak. But it's okay. It's okay. We won't drag you. I'll just encourage, if by any chance there's anybody that hasn't started practicing, please, the earlier you start it, the better, especially while we're still on the classes. I think we have, after today, we have, I think, 2 or 3 modules left. So if you don't practice it now that we're doing it, it's going to be more difficult for you to remember when like your brain is already getting rusted. So please start practicing now, just so that you can make the best of the classes. So today's module, today we're going to visualize data. Let me share my screen. Today we're going to visualize data, which is like the very interesting part of Power BI that everybody likes. So I'm sharing my screen. I hope you can see my Power BI. Can you see my Power BI screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, ma.
Okay, thank you. So because so that I won't take too much of our time, I've done all the import data and cleaned it. I use the same data sets that we had used for all of our classes. That's our Superstore data. So I've imported it. I've also tried to clean it and put the relationships so that we can just go straight to visualizing it. So we can go straight to visualizing it. So what I would do here is, okay, close and apply. So this is how my page looks like. This is Power BI desktop, of course. This is it's called the visualization pane. And this place is sort of your canvas, because it's just like you're trying to paint or you're trying to design. And your canvas, this big white space, is all of the space you have to put your visuals. So your canvas is literally, yeah, the space you have to design your stuff. And these are all the tables that we have in our data that we're going to use to visualize. And the first thing I want to talk about in visualization is selecting the right data set for a the right visual type for a project or for what you're trying to do. Now, as we can see in Power BI, one of the beauty of Power BI is that it has a gazillion of the chart visual types that you can use for whatever you're trying to visualize. And all of those visual types are here. So stacked bar chart, stacked column chart, clustered bar chart, clustered column chart, all of that is a lot. Combination, okay, this is called combination charts in Excel. Lines and stacked column charts. We have the scatter charts, funnel, a whole lot of them, a whole lot. And in fact, if all these ones are not enough for you, there's a store where you can like get more visuals. So there's a whole lot of visual types. But then when there's a whole lot, I mean, just like women, when you have a lot of clothes, that's when you start thinking of, I don't know what to wear. So when you have a whole lot of visuals, there's a tendency that you might now start saying, oh, I don't know which one to use. Unfortunately, this is not like, well, I wanted to say it's not like a woman's clothes, but then it's quite like it. Because, for example, yeah, you have a lot of clothes and you really can wear anything you like. But that doesn't mean that when you are going to the beach, you pick up a long, nice dress that normally is fit for a dinner. Or when you're going to work, that's when you pick up your whatever your dinner wear and stuff like that. So just like that, in visuals, there are specific visuals that are better used for specific kind of information that you're trying to show. And we'll see examples of that as we get along. But I would just give, so there are some rules of thumb around selecting visuals for your visualization. And it's not like it's not like somebody just thought of it or put it cast in stone. It's just, the purpose is just because this chart shows this information better. Okay, let's just get to it, and then so that we can see what I'm saying, so that I'm not just rambling. So how, step by step, how do you visualize data in Power BI? You've gotten in your data, you've cleaned it, you've modeled it. Now you want to visualize it. You have all of these visuals. Now there are two ways to go about it. You can either select the visual you want to use first, and what that means is come to visualization, you click on a visual. I'll use this simple, okay, I'll use this simple card as a sample. So of course, you just told, by clicking this card, you just told Power BI that you want a card. If you look closely here, you can see select or drag fields to populate this visual. So you've not told Power BI what you want the card to show. So now I'll go to my data sets. These are my data sets here. This is the order table. So I can say, okay, because when we were modeling the data, we had programmed these cells as a number and also told you that you can sum it up anytime I pick it. This sign, I've forgotten what it's called, in front of the sales means that this data point can be summed up. So the moment you click here or drag it to the data fields, it's going to give you the sum of all your sales. That is the total sum, the whole sales in your data. The total of it is 2.3 million. So of course, there's a sort of title here that tells you what the number is, and then there's the number. So that's one way. The second way, to show us the second way, so you want to create another visual, you have to just click out of here. Then you know that you want to create a brand new visual. The second way is to select the data first. The difference between this and that way, between this way and that other way, is when you select the data first, Power BI uses its own intelligence, or it just fix any visual type that it thinks would fit and uses it. So, but as you can see here, I think this is a good example of what I was saying about the right kind of visual. So now my guy is asking me, how much total sale did we make last year? And then I come up with this visual that I'm clicking on. The man is going to be more confused than when he first started, because he's just seeing a long bar. And yeah, there's a number somewhere here, but with this, you can't know exactly how much sales you made. So it just shows that this column chart that Power BI has given us is not a good visual for visualizing this information. So, and what can you do to change it? Even after you have Power BI has given you this, you don't have to take it. It's not like in university when you want to study medicine and they give you applied biology. You don't have to take it. They can change it to this card that you want. And the way to do that is just, now you're not clicking outside the visual because it is this visual you want to change. So you click on the visual and come to visualizations and click the type that you want, which is a card. So now we can see how much sales we made is 2.3 million. However, let's assume we want to visualize something else. Say, maybe the same sales, or we want the sales to show per, let me see, your sales manager or whoever is saying, okay, which region made the highest sales? And then you come here. So we want to use the same visual. So because we already clicked on sales, you just add region. You just click on region. Of course, this is not responding because on a card, because a card can only show a number, just one number at a time. So you now trying to break it down into whatever regions is not going to work with a card. So now you have to use another visual. And for example, if I can change this card to a table. Of course, when I change it to a table, it just shows me the sales, the one number. Then when I add the regions, breaks it down to all the regions that we have: Central, East, South, and West. However, there is a way to do something, but many times there's a better way to do it. The question that was put to me was, which region made the highest sale? Yeah, somebody can look at this and look through the numbers and say, oh, okay, 725. Okay, West made the highest sale. But isn't it better if I put this in a bar chart, stacked bar chart? And the moment anybody looks at this, in 1 or 2 seconds, you can know that, oh, it is the West that made the highest sales, without having to take another 10 seconds to look at the numbers. Now, the difference between 10 seconds and 2 seconds is one of the core of data visualization. The core of data visualization is that you want people to see insights in your data in the shortest possible time. And the reason is this, the reason why the whole data visualization come up and they say big data and all of that is because in very big organizations, the people that make the decisions, executive board, they are very busy people. The whole data is big. They don't have time to be looking at it line by line, looking at what happened to what. So your job as a data analyst or a data storyteller, whatever your job is called, is to put that data in such a way that in a very short time, they can see all the insights they need to see to make decisions for the company. So if there are two ways to do one thing, one way would make them spend 10 seconds and another way will make them spend 2 seconds. Then it's important that you use the one that makes them spend 2 seconds so that the moment they look at it, they can see, oh, okay, this is our highest grossing region. Now, the second part that looks like it is I will do another visual to show us something else. So you want to have I assume we have category in this data. Oh yeah, the product is broken down into categories. So another thing I will just show briefly is, so this is a stacked bar chart. Yeah. Stacked column chart. So actually, so someone could ask, why don't you use this? I mean, this also shows you the highest, but this is like more preferable because standard practice is that people read data from left to right. So as they're looking from left to right, they can see the one that points longer. This will mean that they have to read from down to up. But then because people read information generally from left to right, so this is just better. So I'm trying to look for another visual to show. So now let's say you want to break this sales by region. Let me use another visual to show that. You want to do sales by region. This time I'll pick the data first. Sales by region. But then you want it broken down to the different categories of these products that we sell. Pick that category and wait for Power BI to arrange it the way it wants. Okay, so now this is giving us different categories of all of the products that we sell, but I don't like it looking like this. It doesn't give me I want to see which product makes up the larger amount of what we sell. This may do it, but there's just a way it looks. So if I change to a clustered bar chart, a stacked column chart, this doesn't fly. If I use 100% stacked column chart, okay, I think this is quite better. But what do you think? Let me duplicate it and see which is better. Yeah, so let me change it to the original one that Power BI gave us. See, nobody knows it all. Somehow I thought that the 100% stacked will be better. But now that I'm looking at it, it looks like this is better. Or maybe we should take a vote. Which one do you think is better? Anybody wants to tell us?
Second one.
The second one.
Yeah.
Any other takers?
The second one.
So like I had said before, thank you for the contributions. There's no hard and fast rule to it. Even though there are some best practices, I mean, like the one I said before, you want to show a number, you can't be using a column chart to show a number. Those ones are best practice. But then in some occasions, you have to try the two to know which is better. Somehow, when I did the second one was the one I did first, I thought 100% stack to be better. But with this 100% stacked, we can't really see if the dark blue is bigger than the light blue, except I now start touching and saying, oh, okay, this one is bigger, this one is bigger. But this second one, at a glance, you can see which is higher than the other, which is higher than the other. The only disadvantage of this is you can't see the figure for the total at once if you have to. But then it tells us which is higher than which. So in that vein, I'll delete this. Then I'll just have us try another kind of visual. I want to do a time series. Time series, time series. I know I keep using sales, but yeah, somehow that's like the that's like the most reasonable number this thing now. The others are quantity. Okay, we can still use quantity. Before, let's use quantity this time. Quantity is just the count of things that people are buying. So we can really use it for the next visual. So I'll this one I'll use Power BI to I'll let Power BI choose the visual for me and see how smart it gets, since it was right the first time. I'll use quantity against calendar. So this is date, and inside date we have year, quarter, month. So I'll just use month. So what I'm trying to see is, so how do our sales look like? Like, are there some seasons where people are buying more of our products? Are there some seasons when we're not selling? Are there some seasons when I don't like, oh, okay, it's sorting the months by the quantity, but I can tell it to sort by month. I don't want it sorting by the quantity. Sort by month. Because I was expecting it to just do January, February, March. I like this. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is happening here? Because I wanted to show January, February, March, April, May. Anyway, I know what it is, but I just want to see if there's anybody, if there's any takers, or if there's anyone that wants to tell us.
Tending to suspect that the company work year starts from April, like the way you said it, or the data set begins from April.
If it starts from April, it will show April, May, June, July, August. This is actually sorting alphabetical order.
Okay,
So the reason
yeah,
why
that's true.
that is because it's two things. Power BI has not recognized that month as a date. So it's just picking it as a normal text. So the way to fix that is, so I remember when we were doing modeling and we were doing some things, and then I think it was Choma that said that when you're doing your visualization, you understand why you have to model your data properly. Because if you don't model your data properly, by the time you start visualizing it, it's not going to give you what you want. And this is what has happened here. Because I imported this data, yes, I rushed to model it, but somehow I didn't model the month properly. So now I'm going to come here to this calendar, and there are two ways to go about that anyway. So you can see the month, the format is text. So it will just sort it in alphabetical order. Like I said, there are two ways to go about that. I can either, let me see if I can change data type to date. It's going to now give me a full date. I don't want it to give me a full date. Let me see if that works. Another way to go about that is to in Power BI, there's something called, you can sort one column. You can sort one column by another column in the same table. So for example, I have this column. This column is already a date, which is properly arranged, formatted as dates and all of that. So I can say, okay, this month column, I want you to use this date to sort it so that it will follow the normal dates, this thing. So if I come here, so I'll come to column tools, and then you see this sort by column. And I'll say, so it's asking me which column do I want to use to sort it. I want to use the date column to sort it. I'll be like bicycle. I'm thinking it's not sorting by this date because this date has date and time. So anyway, let me just what I'll do is to split this date table to date and time so that I can use the date to sort it. But Chioma, do you know a faster way to get around that?
Is it okay to go back to the Power Query bit of this to change the date formatting to date and then bring it back? Will it work?
Okay, let's try. We're here now in Power Query, and this is our calendar. This is our month. Type date. Head new step. Error.
I have a question.
Okay, shoot.
I noticed you keep selecting date and not the other options like date/time. Why?
Yeah, because we just need the date. We really don't need the time. Like the time they place the order is in this situation, we just need the dates and not the time. And if you don't need the date and the time and you're putting date and time, you're just creating redundant, how will I explain it? You're taking up space in your model for something that you don't need. And like Chioma had explained during modeling, as much as possible, you want to eliminate redundancies in your model so that your model can be properly optimized. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. I just thought that date/time was like a formatting thing. Like it was assuming it's
I know
either
it's a
date.
formatting thing, but like I explained, it's a kind of format, but it's a kind of format that takes up more space in your model. Just like you see when I wanted to change this one that time, it was asking me replace clinical. Okay, no, there was another, when I was doing it in the data, this thing was asking me, do I want to change it? It will change the way my data is stored. The implication of all of that is just that it might occupy more space than the old one was occupying and all of that. So if something is not necessary, if you don't need it, you just do the simpler one that you need.
Okay.
Inka?
Yes, Chioma.
I think sorting by months will do that problem.
Sorting by, you mean sorting by date?
Months, like the visual on the visual itself.
I already did that. I sorted
Did
by
you
month,
sort?
but I sorted by month, but the month is now picking alphabetical order instead of actual month thing.
Well, that's September, October, November. Oh, it's still scattered. Not working. Did you mark that date table as a date table?
Let me check. Okay, I'm coming. Let me go back to Power Query. Anyways,
I think
so
try doing it from the model view. Let's see.
just do something else. We'll not waste too much time on this and come back to this later.
Go to the model view. Let's see if it will work there.
Oh, okay.
Please click on the table. It's like the visual. Let's see if it will highlight from the calendar here. Wow. Why is it not coming up?
Can you see? What do you mean by coming up?
Like you have been right clicking. It's supposed to come up when you right click. That's what I don't understand. Why it's not coming up?
Oh, okay. To set it as date table.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me just see if put by column, month, data type. Let me see if we can change the data type here again.
Okay. Let me see. Go to data view. The data view. Let me. Yeah, click on the calendar. Let's see. Okay, see there.
I was looking for it by this side. I think we might still have to split this. Oh, okay, it worked. We might still have to split this date table. I mean, this date table. Okay. This table. Next. Let me just see if this doesn't work. We'll just use it. Just leave it and come back to it. Yeah,
That's serious.
so that we won't waste our time on it. I expect that I should. Let me do one last thing. One last thing I'll just do is to come on within the lobby. Okay. Last thing I'll just do is to split this date table. I think if I split this date table, I'll be able to sort the months by the dates.
Okay, instead of splitting it, just make it a date now. The data type, because the time is as good as the same.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, they can't be okay because it's a one-to-many, so you can't sort it by that. Because there are lots of July in. There are lots of July here. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just find another way around that and come back to it. So we can just use year or quarter for this instead of month. Because if the month doesn't sort, even though yes, we can see which month has the highest sales and all, but because again, like I said, put the data from left to right, and before you start telling somebody that is not arranged, though, the person would have assumed that this is January that is starting it and like that. So if you don't have it that way, it sort of defeats the purpose. But if I remove month and use year, where's the year? Sorry, Jesus. So that's another thing. Those are things you see when you're visualizing your data. Anywhere you see this sign, that means that when you pick that data, it's going to be summed up. And we have different years. I don't want them summed up. But the reason why it is like this is because you've not specified properly how you want the year column to behave. So you come back to your data view, come to this year. You can still leave it as whole number, you can change it to text, but you don't want it to sum. So you come to this summarization and say, don't summarize. Don't summarize. So when you come back here, you see that that sign is no longer showing in front. Then you can just say yeah. So you can see, looks like the company is doing something right because their sales have been growing year on year. Of course, that's what every company wants. Every company wants their sales to grow. But another way to show time series data can be a line chart. With a line chart, you can also see it shows a trajectory of how the years have grown. And so we've been talking about different data types and bringing them out, but I'll just use this line chart to explain editing your visual in Power BI. So you already have this visual. Of course, this is default. This is how Power BI gives it to you, but it doesn't mean that that's how you have to leave it. Because, for example, you don't like this title, you want to show the title as maybe year-on-year growth. You don't like the color, you don't like anything at all about it. That's the purpose of this paintbrush here. This paintbrush is just like your paint app in Microsoft where you can edit your pictures. And there are a gazillion of things that you can do to your data, to your visual, sorry, from here. But I'll just show a few. So in general, for example, you can change the size of your visual, the position of your visual, and all of that. Then this alt text for what do they call it? Disability something something. Where you can enter a text for people that may not be able to see the picture, they'll see that text. Now leave general and go to x-axis. The x-axis is already on. If you don't want the number on the x-axis to show, you just uncheck this. Sorry, the key on the x-axis, you just uncheck this. But of course, you want your year to show. So you check it, type continuous, scale type linear, and all of that. Now you want to change the color. I would like to change my color to black so that we can see it properly. And then maybe increase the text size a bit. Your y-axis, in some occasions in visualization, if you put a data label, we'll see data labels later. If you put a data label on your visual, you may not want to show the y-axis, but we'll come back to that when I go to. But another thing, of course, you can do here is change the color to black, increase the size so that you can see it. You can also change the font type, but I won't change that. So a whole lot, secondary axis. Now, what's the purpose of this secondary axis? For example, if I'm showing two things, so let me add another thing on this line chart, for example. I have to come back here. If I want to show another thing, not only quantity. Let's say I want to show how much profits we made in each of the years. So I'll say profit. Now you see what has happened. What has happened is that because the upper blue line is profit, the lower blue line is quantity. Because the quantity is relatively small compared to the profit, what has happened is that you can't exactly see just by looking at the picture how the quantity has moved. The profit has sort of swallowed it, and that's because you're using the same scale on the same axis. So that's where a secondary axis comes in. So what you can now do here is to give it a secondary axis. Where is it now? Secondary axis is supposed to come up on the other side here. Oh, okay. I have to come back and put this guy in the secondary axis, secondary values. So everybody has their own scale, that is their own size. So now you know that this side is for quantity and this side is for profit. So one does not have to swallow the other. So now you can see clearly how your profit has grown and how also your quantity has grown. So I mean, this is a good way to know whether, oh, I'm just selling so much more. It's not like I'm making as much profit. So in the beginning, from 2014 to 15, it looks like the quantity was growing, the profit was growing. But by 2017, as much as which one is quantity, as much as they sold higher, which is the lower blue line, somehow the quantity, as much as they sold higher, sorry, the quantity is high, the profits are somehow gone down. So that's the purpose of having a secondary axis. When you have two data points, you want to show two of them on one line chart, but the numbers are far away from each other, and you don't want to swallow the other. Use a secondary axis. But then, so you put one of the data points in values and put the second one in secondary values. Now, Power BI can be very annoying sometimes. Like when you put your data points, to just put it in one place that you won't even see what you want to see. So understanding the usage of these guys, that's the axis, the legend, the values, secondary values, the things that you will have in this fields pane varies with different kind of charts. So just for example, when I didn't have a secondary axis, I didn't need to put anything in the secondary values and it still worked. And if I select another chart, the things that chart needs to function are different from what a line chart needs. So you just need to understand it. Sometimes, I mean, you have to try it, put in different places before you get it, but then you eventually get it. So now let's get back to our editing our visual. I don't like how these two are blue, so I'll just try to like use different colors for the so these data colors. So I'll make one red while the other is blue, so something like this. Yeah, so they are like, you can easily remember, you don't have to start saying dark blue and light blue. You can just say red and blue. So all those are just basic things that you know. Like it's not, like I said, there's no hard and fast rule to it that they have to be different colors. But then when you're, for example, presenting this, it's easier for you to say, oh, the blue line is profit while the red line is quantity than to have to say, oh, the light blue line and the dark blue line. I mean, there are a million colors in the world. Why do you have to use light blue and dark blue? And this is data labels. So I talked about data labels before. If I put this on, putting this on means that, okay, so we can see the numbers. I can change the color to black and I can increase the size. If I have this here, is a waste of model space and waste of everything to still put the axis. So now that I have this, I can come here and remove the axis. So now this is not the x-axis, so y-axis. I can turn off the y-axis, both this primary and secondary. Since we can already see the number, we don't need the axis anymore. So those are just basic tips that you need to know. And then this is a border. If you want to have a border on your shape, you can put it another color, say purple. So now you can see the border. Even when you click outside it, you can see the border. And of course, you can increase or reduce, change the color, whatever you want to do, really. Okay, the last thing I'll talk about here is tooltip. Tooltip is on. Tooltip is on. Type is report page. Now, what tooltip does for you is that, so there is, now you've shown quantity and profits year on year. But what if there's still something else that you want to show that you don't really want it to show on the chart? You just want it to be like additional information. That's what a tooltip does for you. So you come here to Axis, you scroll down, you see tooltips. It says add data fields here. So you can pick the additional thing that you want to show. So for example, let me see what I can show here. Okay. Okay, let me not use sales rep. Let me use a number. You really can use anything, but I want to use a number because okay, let me use sales rep. Not there. Sales rep. So it's asking, do I want to show the first sales rep, last sales rep? I want to show count, distinct count. So what this is saying is I want to know how many sales rep we had in each year. And the point of it is that, so I just want to know the years where we had higher sales rep. Did we have more sales? Or even some years where we had less sales rep, we had less sales. So I'll just see here. So the way tooltips now work is, so when you come here and over on it, now you have count of sales rep as part of the information that is showing in addition to quantity and profit. So the important, and I'll show you the difference. So here before, we are seeing only quantity and profit. But now that I add sales rep here, change it to count, you can see quantity, profit, and sales rep. What it has done for you is that you've not, for lack of a better word, you've not defaced or defamed your visual in any way, but you have managed to be able to show additional information, and it's information that is relevant to the story you're trying to tell about how our profit has grown, how our sales have grown, and then how were they driven by because we had more sales reps. So for example, now in this year, we had 14 sales reps in 2014, 2015, okay, we still had 14, we had 14. So we didn't even, this sales rep didn't change. So you might be trying to say that data analysis and data visualization is really very interesting. And like I was telling somebody at a certain time, sometimes some people can be sentimental and try to say that, oh, the reason we're not doing well is because we need more sales reps. Maybe there's a sales manager somewhere that has some people he wants to employ, and he's trying to tell the executive that he needs to employ more sales reps so that he can sell well and all of that. I always say that there's a quote that says, trust, something like trust no man, everyone must bring data. People can always say things, people can always be emotional and say a lot of things, but if you don't have data to support it, and if there's some other person that has data that negates what you're trying to say, then we're going to have to believe the person with data. So you are the advisor to the executive, and there's a sales manager somewhere saying, oh, I need more sales rep, that's why I'm not making sales. By the time you show this kind of visual and say, see, our sales have been growing year on year, and we've kept to 14 sales reps. It just means that probably those sales reps, they still had more capacity to keep going. So our problem is not a count of sales rep. Assuming that at some point now we saw that sales was reducing or anything, we can justify your story, but our profit has been growing without us having to increase sales rep. Or assuming we saw in a year that sales rep grew profit grew. Then when sales rep dropped, profit dropped. Then you can say, oh, you see, it's because we don't have enough sales rep. That's why we're not selling. But this is obvious that sales rep is not the reason you're not selling. You don't need any more sales rep. So this just shows that creating visuals many times is not just anybody can create a visual. But if your visual doesn't tell the story, doesn't help somebody make a decision, then is useless to anybody. So that's just, so there are a lot of stuff really that you can do here. There's one last thing I would have loved to show here. I can't seem to find it. I'll come back maybe when I say, oh, okay, it's actually here, it's not there. The way to, so let's say space has finished on your canvas and you still want to do something else. Just create a new page. So you have a brand new canvas, you can do a lot more. The first thing I want to show here is the map visual. Let me use this. There are two types. There's this just map and there's this field map. There's also this Azure map. We won't go into it, but let's just start with this. So I want to click the map first. I want to click the map first because I want to try something funny. So I'll use profit again. Profit. And I'll add sales rep. The map seems to be confused because, so normally a map is supposed to show you, but then because I click sales rep, the map just puts it in legend because he didn't know where else to put it. And then the map looks like it's not really telling us anything. We can just see all these things. And that's because the map is optimized to show data by location. And so that's why the map has not technically not populated. It's waiting for me to put something in this location field here. And because I've not put anything there, he hasn't done anything on the map. So I'll remove this sales rep and then I'll also show us something. So I'll go to location and click region. Is there something wrong with this video? Oh, profit by region. It's there now. Somehow region is a location, but for whatever reason, it's not still populating the map. In fact, it's not dropping in this location place. And let me see if I can force it to go there. Now the difference between those two, this is not even correct. And I'll tell you why it's not correct. Because all these regions are actually regions in the US. So if you put locations that are not properly defined, it's going to sort of really mislead you. But there are two things that are important for you to do when you want to use the map. Shama had mentioned one of it when we're doing data modeling. When you have, for example, something that is a location, you have to tell Power BI that this guy is a location by categorizing it. Okay, luckily we don't even have to go back to data view. See, as I click on this city, because I had done that before, I'd come here to data category on column tools, data category, I specified that this is a city. And because to use the map, you have to be connected to the internet. So because Power BI again has intelligence, you can check on the internet, it knows those cities and where they actually are on the map. And it is after you have categorized your data, that is when, especially if it's a map, a location kind of data, the moment you categorize it, it shows this S symbol in front of it. And that shows that it is fit to be used on a map visual. So now by the time I drag this city into the location, so now I can see all of the cities and how much profit they made by the size of the balls, most of them concentrated in North America. Now I will use this, I'll use this visual to explain conditional formatting. Conditional formatting, Conditional formatting, we may know it in Excel, but also we may not know. But what conditional formatting does for you is that it again makes it faster for you to see difference between different data points. So for example, what this profit is in size. So that automatically means bigger balls mean bigger sales.
Sorry, sorry to disturb you. I think somebody's hand is up. Anita.
Oh, okay,
Maybe
thank
she
you.
has a question or something like
Two
that.
hands.
That's fine. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So I just wanted to clarify because, okay, the map is gotten online. It's not that it's on Power BI.
No, the map
Because
is
I'll
on.
say
The map is a
it's on
visual
Power BI.
Power BI.
Okay,
However,
because
the reason why
I'll
you
say,
need to
is there like Nigerian map? Like, for example, somebody wants to put data because of the way the data has been divided into geolocations like west, north. If you're putting it on the world map, it's going to show like another continent entirely. But
exactly what I'm saying. So because it's a world map, and by the time that's why I said you have to be specific. You can only use specific.
Okay. So there are Nigerian maps available.
Yeah, it's
African
a world
map.
It's a world map, as you can see. If you look at this video, you can see Africa, you can see Asia, you can see North America, South Australia. It's a world map. So anywhere
Okay, I'm saying when we put it specifically for example, Nigerian map, it will exclude this other information, the whole other every part of Africa, and just show us Nigerian map and then put the geolocation based on Nigeria itself alone. Can we do that?
So I'm not aware that you can just ask for Nigeria map. However, if your data set has cities in Nigeria that are very specific, like he has Lagos, he has Ibadan, he has Kaduna, he has Ebonyi, it automatically populates Africa. And then you can just, what you have to do then is to just zoom it, into Africa. But then it populates based on the data set that you have.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Because it just takes the world map and puts those locations in there.
Okay.
There's another hand up. I think Delight, someone. Delight, if your hand is up. Hello.
No, my hand is not.
Ah. It's all right. Okay, so we'll continue. I was talking about conditional formatting. Like each, I want to zoom this a bit. Like, because this profit is undersized, what it means is that different size of ball means different amount of profit. However, this profit, is this sum? Okay, yes, sum. However, I can still barely see which ball is bigger than the other. So the other way to go about this is to use conditional formatting. And the way to do that is to just come here and go to where is it? I'm calling. Hope my distance is not playing pranks on you. Don't be a legend, nice, yeah. Okay, it's here. I think it's here in data colors. Okay, so normally it's supposed to be here, but since normally if you click this, it's supposed to show you conditional formatting, but since I can't seem to find it, another way to go about it is to come here and come to data colors, because what I want to format in essence is the color. And this here is this here means that you want the color to be based on a certain condition, the color of the ball. So I'll just click on this, and then it says, how do I want to format it? Color, scale, rules, or field value. I'll do two different I'll do two different methods so that you would understand. I'll start with color scale, and then it's asking based on which field do you want to use to determine the color. So I'll say based on, of course, the profits that we're using there, based on sum of profits, sum. So now, what color do you want the lowest value to be? I want the places where we're making the minimum sales to be red. Shows that they're not doing well. I don't like what this red I'm seeing for the actual red. Yeah. Then the places where we're doing well to be green.
Green.
So what this means is that there is diverging, yeah. So what this means is that the profit goes from red to green. So the closer the color is to green, the higher the profit, and where we're making the lowest sales will be red, and where we're making the highest sales will be green. Those that are in between will be yellow. And then you just click OK. So from a glance, we can see here that this is somehow, this is not giving me what I want.
Probably you should use the sales.
Okay, we should use
It
this.
looks like the profit is a lower value.
And they are not really different from each other. Some of them are even
yeah.
Obviously. So if we use sales, or we should use quantity. Not so much difference. So. Oh, okay, it's different. I just couldn't see it. Let me see if I zoom it in. Anyways, what another thing that I would just do is, so sometimes depending on the data set that you have, of course, some kind of this thing might not be good, but I'll do this again, then I'll use rules to show another. So the lowest should be red, highest be green, and then it should be divergent. A lot of them are still red, and then just a few are green. But what I'll do differently is I will do a rule that okay, but for me to use this rule, I need to know, I need to have a, I'll show you, then I'll show you what I'm saying. I want to do a rule that says that okay, I don't need to have a glance of it. I want to do a rule that says I'll use profit. I'll use profit. Then I want to know in which places we are making profits and in which places we are making loss. So I'll put profit here. And I'll come to data colors as usual, FX. So here will be rules. And then the Pane again will be profit. So here, the way to just do this is, if you have said it's based on sum of profits. So if the value is greater than or equal to 0, number, not percent. If it's if it was an exam score sort of where you have 50% is the pass mark, 20% is the whatever mark, you use percent. But because this one is number, is a as an absolute number, profit or loss. So what I want to tell it now is that if it's greater than 0, be a certain color, and then if it's less than 0, that's if we're making loss in that city, let it be this other color. So if the value is greater than or equal to 0, no, I don't want this double. Sorry, my system is hanging. Okay, it wants me to do like if the value is between 0 and something, then between, but I just want to say greater than less than 0 and greater than 0. But it doesn't seem to let me do that. So I now have to I can say minimum.
Okay, we cannot put a benchmark of the maximum profit
And
that we see so far.
Question. If we're using sum, why are we using percent? Okay.
now I've changed it to number. Then if it's so, what is minimum means is that the minimum number in the whole data set. So I don't know what the number is, but whatever the minimum number is in the whole data set, so it's greater than or equal to that number, and then it's less than 0. Let the color be 1. Then here I will now say if the value is now greater than or equal, is great now, I will say greater than 0. Greater than 0 number, and then is less than or equal to the maximum. Then let it be green. Do you understand? Hello?
Yes.
So this value, let's say the lowest number in the data set is minus 50. So between minus 50 and 0, that means those people are not making profit. Let them show red. Then they are not, the other ones, the other sets are greater than 0 and less than or equal to the maximum number in the data set. So by the time you click OK, so there will just be 2 colors there. This time is not divergent. There will just be 2 colors, red and green. And the moment you see red, you know that, okay, that city is making a loss. The moment you see green, you know that that city is making a profit. Wow. Okay, this looks better. So at least if we zoom this, and we can check it with our tooltips. I'm trying to zoom in. So we can check this. These guys are making a profit of 24. This is St. Paul. This guy's Miami is making a loss of 1,150. This guy's Memphis making a loss of 1,004. Somewhere in Europe, Toledo is making a loss of 300, etc, etc. So of course, you can also do this conditional formatting in tables, in all of the different kinds of charts that we have. And there's really a lot of creativity that goes into all of this. And again, it's not just a vague creativity. It's a creativity that comes from the kind of story that you are trying to tell to the users of your report. The kind of I'm looking for the word, the kind of narrative that you want to sell, the decision they are trying to make, what information do they need to make those decisions. Now that's what determines which of all of these functions that you're going to use. And of course, there's a lot of the edits that you can also do. You want to increase the size of the bubbles, or want to use a heat map. This doesn't work here. You want to use, of course, you want to add a tooltip again. There's an advanced something to tooltip that we'll take in the next class, but I'll come back to that. And then I forgot to mention, not that I forgot, we're still here. So I've closed this pane since, but then I can open it now. There's what we call filters in Power BI, and they just work like the filters you may have used in Excel or elsewhere. And like the name implies, it's just filter. A filter is a filter. The only good thing about Power BI is that there are different ways you can use your filters. If I unselect this visual, you see two types here. One is filters on this page, and the other one is filters on all pages. Now, what that means is that I will just show you. What would I use? We don't have sales rep anywhere, Abby. So let me use sales rep. If I put sales rep here and I filter for, so these are all our sales rep. And sorry, these are all our sales reps. And if I just want to see what Shayla sold, because this is filters on this page, the moment I click Shayla, you can see that all of the visuals changed because all of them are now showing just Shayla's sales. And if I change it and I change it to Stella, they're showing Stella's sales. If I add Steve, they're showing Steve's sales. I don't know how fast we'll be able to see it, but if I move this, I want to close this. So this is what our map looks like. I want to filter for, I want to use this filter that I have on page 1 to filter this map. And the way to do that is to move this filter from filters on this page to filters on all pages. So now I've already filtered for Stella and Steve. We'll just try to cram what this map looks like. So let me zoom it a little. Okay, instead of cramming it, I'll just use this guy here. This is City of York at a profit of 102. So I'll come here and move this filter to filters on all pages. Let me just carry another one since it's being difficult. So filters on all pages, and I'll say, okay, so what we had was City of York profit of or loss of 102. Now by the time I come here and I filter this and I say I want to only see Alan Ray's sales, Alan Ray did not sell anything. Okay, I already have this other filter up here. Let me just remove the filter on this page. Filter for. So now this is now a filter, not just on this page, but on all of the pages. So by the time I click on Alan Ray, I'll go and see what the map looks like. I can't even see that City of York anymore. And that's because Alan Ray probably doesn't live in the city of York. But you can see that the map is obviously different. So these are the only locations where Alan Ray covers. It doesn't cover city of York or wherever. If we select, now can you see that the moment I was on page 1 when I selected that filter here, but we can now see it on page 2 too, because I put it as a filter on all pages. So by the time I filter this, I add Ann Wu, I add Daniel Gates, add Erica Jones. These ones have also been changing, just as I was changing that. So that is the beauty of this. You can have a filter just to affect only one page or to affect all the pages on your video. And this works even if you have like up to 10 pages. So if all the filters are showing different parts of the same report and you want, when you just filter one page, all of them behave accordingly, that's what you have to do instead of, but then if you wanted to change it individually, you put each of them on their different pages. Like you come here, you can then still add another filter on this page, say product category on this page. So now you can filter this and say, okay, so now you want to see only furniture. You want to see only office supplies. You want to see only technology. So like that, but you see that this filter now is on, this filter is only on this page. This other filter is on all pages. And if you come to this page, you won't see the category filter because the category filter is only on page 2. And you can really add as many filters. As you can see, after I've added this filter on this page, I can still add another one. I can still add another one. Like I can still add, say, I can still add month as a filter here. And say, oh, okay, I want to see only sales for August. Changes. I want to see only sales for February. Changes. I want to see only sales for January. It changes. So there's just a whole lot. The more you're adding, the more it's creating space for you. You can still add another one. And all of these are on this page. They are not on this page. So you can either add it on the page or on all pages. And another way is you can now even add it, say, I want the filter specific to only this visual. So now you can see this column that says filters on this visual. These are all of the things I already added before: profit, sales rep, quantity, and all of that. So I can still add additional one. For example, now the year is already there, but I'm showing all of the years. If I want to see only 2 years, I'll just click this and then so the problem of us formatting our year as a number is occurring again. Because it's seeing the year as a number, is asking us what kind of filter. Okay, let me do basic filtering. So now we can see all of the years. So there are different kind of filtering, as you can see: advanced, basic, top end. We will do top end when we are doing in the next module, data analyzing data. So here you can select, okay, I don't want to show all the years. I want to show only 2014 and 2015. Or okay, 2016. Then I can add another filter. Let's go back to select all. I can still add another filter only for this visual. So let me add, we've not used category here. So let me add category. So if I add category to this visual, why? Let me add it to this other one. I don't know why that is proving stubborn. Let me add category to this visual. So now if I click furniture, you see that the numbers change. If I click add office supplies, remove furniture. If I click technology, and if you don't want people to be clicking 2 at a time, you can just check this requires single selection. So now you can only select one category at a time, one category at a time. So that's all of how you can use filters. I'll give us a homework. I always give this in every class. give us the homework today relating to filters, and somebody will come and show us next week. So, or in our next class, I'm not sure we're meeting next week. We have an inspirational session. So that's basically all of that. The last thing, we're already 90 minutes gone. The last thing I'll just show us today is buttons in Power BI. Buttons are a way to make your report more responsive. Responsive is a good word. And so the way to use buttons is to go to Insert, come here to Elements, and you see buttons. These are all of the buttons that are available in Power BI and how you can use them. And the first one is, the first one I'll just show us is the back button. Let me come here to do it. Button, back. So it just shows up here. You can sort of reduce your distance so that you can see it. What this back button does is, like the name implies, takes you to the previous page in your report. And you can also, immediately you put the button and you click on it, you see this format button pane. So all this helps you to format your button, put it the color you like. In fact, you want it to write something. You want to say, oh, go back to previous page. You can write something. You want it to be another color. What is the color? You want it to have rounded edges, anything, how you want the button to look like. But I'll just go straight to the action, what you want the button to do. And that's here where you have action and it's on. So the action is on, it's not just for if it's for decoration, you can put it off and it'll just be there, it won't do anything. But by the time you put it on, type is back because it's the back button. I will explain the others later, but the type is back. No tooltips. So what this button does, basically, it takes you to the previous page. And there's a second button that is a bit like it, that is now somehow dicey. So because, for example, so the way it works is you press Control and click to go to the previous page in this report. So just press Control and click and it takes you there. Now, for me to show us the other one that looks like back, but is sort of a bit dicey, I would have to create a third page, page 3. I won't put anything there. I'll just use it to show us. So inside this button is the left arrow. Okay, I'll also put back here so that we can see the difference properly. So there's left arrow and there's back. Back, the action is on and it goes back. All of that, check. And there's the left arrow. Left arrow, where's the action? Action, I'll put it on. Also goes back. So I'll come from page 1 to, now you have to take note of this. Coming from page 1 and going to page 3. If I click this, it takes me to page 1. That's because I'm coming from page 1. Now go back to page 3. If I click this, it takes me to page 1. So why is it not taking me to page 2, which is the page before page 3? That's because I didn't configure it to take me to this other page. Now, what this means is, because this, when people look at it normally, it looks like people expect that it will go to page 2. But if you don't configure it to go to page 2, it will not go to page 2. it will go to the page where you were coming from, not necessarily the page before. So now if I was coming from page 2 and I go to page 3, by the time I click, it takes me to page 2. But I want it to be that whenever you see this back arrow, it goes to the back. And when you see the front arrow, it goes to the front. So the way to configure that is to come to, so it doesn't just go automatically, it's to go to action. Then you say, instead of having back here, you now say page navigation. So it will now ask you, okay, what destination? I will now say page 2. So now it has all the pages. I can tell it which page to go to. I'll now say page 2. So now this goes to the previous page in the report. That's wherever I'm coming from. But this goes to page 2. So in all of your, if you have a data that is like, or a report that is like 10 sheets, you can just have this and then have this in all of your reports. Okay, I don't want to put that here, so let me put it here. Let me remove this. Put left arrow here and the right arrow here. So now you have the left arrow and the right arrow. And then you configure this to say action on page navigation. So to page 1. And then configure this to say action page navigation page 3. So this goes to page 1 and this goes to page 3. So this is sort of just easier for people to know that, oh, okay, this takes me to the previous page and this takes me to the next page. But then if you want to use just normal back, you want to go to, because depending on what you're doing, really, depending on the purpose of your report, you can really want to not go to page 2. And I think when we do drill through, we'll see the usefulness of this particular one. We'll do drill through in the next class. We'll see the usefulness of this actual back. So I think that's most of what I want us to cover today. But final, last but not the least, before we go, the one thing I just want to show us is how you can add a theme to your report. So because yeah, you can go changing the colors one after the other and all of that, but sometimes it's good to just have a theme for your report. And the way to do that is, where's report theme? Okay, I think it's on view. Yeah. So these are all the themes that are available. Oh, there's supposed to be a. Okay, so these are, you go to view and then you see all of these themes. Depending on the version of your Power BI, you might actually see a report theme or something like that somewhere. But then, so you can just select each of these themes. So I think it will show better here. And please, best practice. I know I didn't sort of pay attention to this, but okay, I think I'll just quickly do it. I mean, the way you arrange your data is very important. Like, you don't just scatter them all over the place, and it's just best practice to arrange your data properly and make them look neat. I want to put another visual here just so that this looks better. So let me do sales. Let's see which sales team is making the best sales. Okay. Power BI has these grid lines that helps you to know that this is what your data looks like. And it's important to have, okay, I went straight to the technicalities, but then there are little things that you need to do, of course, that just make your data look good. It's important to have like a title, so you can insert a text box and say, Olayinka and Daughters or Olayinka Supermarket. Just those are really, well, they are not little things. They are, I mean, as important as it can be to make your data look like what it should look like. So this would be like atop your data. Shift this down a little. And then if your company has a logo, can import the logo and put it here. And the way to do that is insert image. Let me see if I can find a logo somewhere that I can put. Really, you can just use any image on your this thing. Type Power BI logo somewhere. I'll be Textiler's logo. Okay, let me just put a picture of myself there just to show us. So you have your company logo. Usually you want to put it at this corner of your report. But then you need to arrange everything that they are not overlapping. Sure that everything is not overlapping. This can increase the font size. Okay, so this looks a bit better. If you give all of your visuals borders like this, it also helps you to see the arrangements better. Even though these grid lines also help you. Helps you to see
No, you
it.
can have a question from someone, Delight.
Okay, Delight. Delight,
Okay. Okay, I wanted to find out if you can or how to give a background color to your canvas. So if you don't want it to be all white, can you give a background color to canvas, or can you do it to just the charts? What obtains in Power BI?
I had shown that. So if you want a background color for the whole chart, you have to click anywhere outside of, for the whole canvas, anywhere outside of any of the visuals, and you come to this paintbrush. Like I had explained, I couldn't show us everything that is possible in the this thing. But then this paintbrush is where you do all of that. So this page information, page size, can change it from 16:9 to 4:3 to, well, I mean 16:9 is better. This is page background. So of course the color is white. Can change it to blue. Then take the transparency. Can you see? Or change it to purple or whatever you want. Or if you have your company logo again, but sometimes you want it to be a watermark sort of under this thing. You come here to add image. And you can pick a picture from anywhere. Let me use this Olympics picture. For example, you are showing data about Olympics and you want it to be in the background of your this thing. Image fit, you change it to fill. Then because it's a watermark, you don't want it to occupy the whole space like that. You use this transparency to just lighten it. I don't overdo. So can you see that? Even though what I was going to show in themes might also do some of that, but then this is if you have a particular picture or you have a particular color that you want the background to be. Now I have this, but I still want to change the background of this particular chart, this particular visual. I want the background to be black. I'll click on that visual, go to the paintbrush and go to background. So here the color is white. Change it to, what do we use now? So it's really pretty straightforward to achieve, make your this thing look the way you want it to look. In fact, you can have a rule to say when something is a certain way, let the color be purple, just same way we did in conditional formatting. So it's really of course you can change the transparency depending on how bright you want it to be and all of that. So it's really Power BI is really very flexible. You can design your data. In fact, you can become a UI UI designer while designing your Power BI report. Because I mean, your knowledge of colors and all of that will then come into play. But now, instead of changing the colors of your visuals individually, that's where report theme becomes important. And that's what I was trying to show us before I remember that I didn't have a title. So for report themes, you come here to view, and then you see all of these themes that are available. And then you can select, say, if you select this, so you see how it sort of harmonizes your whole report. Like everything now looks like they have the same color scheme. They have, everything is just nice and beautiful. It's an easy way to make your report. And there are additional things that you can even still like get online. Import a theme if you have your own theme, or come to this theme gallery here. You see all of the themes that are available. Theme gallery is online. Don't want. So really, if you're not satisfied with all of these themes, like I was showing, you can go online and find even more themes that you can use. Of course, this is showing us the current theme that we're using now. You can change it to this, depending on, again, your choice, the users of the reports. I keep emphasizing because many times it's not really necessarily what you like. Is what you think the users of your report will find convenient, easy to read, and all of that. So really, you can change your report theme to however you want it to look. Time is fast spent, but there's still quite a lot more we need to cover. So that means we'll have to have another. This is me just playing around with the themes. And you see how this one keeps standing out because we had given it a background before. But I think I'll just remove that background color so that it looks like the others. Color. So that's basically it. So we have our supermarket sales ready to roll. That's basically it. Next week we would sorry, I keep saying next week. Next week is our inspirational session. We won't have class next week. Upper week, we'll finish visualize data, hopefully. There's still quite a lot more that are a bit advanced, but I just think it's good for us to understand the basics first of creating visuals. Then next week, we'll go into some lot more advanced kind of visuals, and then how you can make your report to be responsive. But in the meantime, I'm looking for the chat so that I can drop our assignment. I always like to give assignments. I've been saying we'll be giving assignment, but somehow we had not been getting assignment. So assignment. While I'm typing the assignment, if anybody has any questions, suggestions, please show by raise of hand. Today.
Hi,
okay, hi.
Yeah, so I think we're still stuck with changing the data set of changing the data type of the column.
Yeah, making the month to behave the way.
Yeah, making a month. I'm happy with making a month a year. I think we are still stuck with that part of it. So it's difficult for you to. So I think it has become an automatic assignment for us because we have to go and find out
Find out
how
how to
to
do that.
do that by ourselves.
Yeah, I will also still look at it. It's possible that it's something that is innately wrong with the data sets. If not, then I would of course find a way around it before we come next week, because I will still use it for some other things.
Okay.
Yes, take that as an automatic assignment. But the original assignment I want to do, I always, whenever there's something that is sort of dicey and a lot of people seem to struggle with, I like to give it as an assignment, because when you research something and learn it by yourself, it's difficult for you to forget it. Just like the example that Amaka gave about some and some X. Till anytime now you wake up from sleep and ask her to explain the difference between some and some X, she's going to know it because she took time to understand it by herself. So I've explained filters, what filters are, but there's something else that is very similar to filters in Power BI, and it's called slicers. I deliberately did not talk about it at all, but I assume that I have explained filters very well. So what I want us to do is to read up, and of course by practice too, the similarities and differences between filters and slicers. Like I said, slicers are very similar to filters, but then they have, just like we used to do in a secondary school, white blood cells and red blood cells. So will somebody will explain to us, and I would like if somebody can even show us, maybe do a 5 minutes demo before we start next week's class. I will be very glad somebody can do that. So I've typed it in the chat box, so you can always come back and refer to it. Like I always say, this chat thread is always open. If you're practicing anything during the week and you're confused, please feel free to come and drop your questions here, and all of the mentors will try to attend to it as fast as possible. Yeah, good. I don't want us to reach 2 hours. And if you have not heard, we'll still post it on the WhatsApp group. But on Saturday, I've been saying we won't have a class on Saturday because we'll be having our inspirational session. Every last Saturday of the month in Textilers, we have an inspirational session where we invite successful career people and all of that. This month, we're having the country manager of Microsoft in Nigeria and Ghana. Her name is Ola Williams, and she's going to have a session on leadership. She's going to also have a Ask Me Anything session. So whatever questions, she's one of the speakers. There are two other speakers that we're going to be having. We've posted it on our LinkedIn. If you're following us, you would have seen it. So you sign up to attend that session. She'll answer all your questions about a tech career, about learning, about leadership, how to get into tech and all of that. So let's try to attend because we want people to attend the session, that's why we don't have classes on that Saturday. So our next class will be the first Saturday in November. That's about it. In the absence of no other hands up, please enjoy the rest of your weekend and don't stop practicing Power BI. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye. Good
Okay.
night.
Thank you.